I want to bring up something that basically, again, took me in a different direction in life, but there was a purpose of the Father and why I was so. I'm going to say about 7, 8 years ago, I became very sick. I had been sick for about 2 years prior to it basically hitting a head, and I was rushed to the hospital by my buddy, phenomenal man named Hank Ford. Hank was one of the best men I've ever met, if not the best. He took me to the hospital, and I was suffering a pancreatic attack. And after receiving IV for about 6 hours, it finally subsided and I was released. Then 90 days later, I went to a follow-up visit at a clinic, and my enzymes for my pancreas had increased 100% during those 90 days. This is not a good sign. And every day I shook as if I was, coming down from like a sugar rush or an alcoholic rush. And I was nauseous for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours every day of my life. I'd go to the restroom so many times, and I wouldn't calm down until around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I had to work. I couldn't work a lot. So my wife of the time, who had done a remarkable job in assisting me for a number of years, helping me to raise the children. Without her being around, I couldn't have even spent the time I did with my children. No matter what you think of her, Father sent her. He imported her to come help me for those many years. I want us to understand, honor, and respect that. She told me she wanted to get a divorce. Her sister had found a wealthy banker for her to marry, and I told her I thought it was a great thing. I thought it was good. There was obviously no future with me. I was going downhill fast, and I literally believed I was going to die anyway. I just figured I was an old man, and that was it. And this is what happens. I didn't know quite what was wrong with me until a second doctor got involved with me, and he told me initially I needed to quit drinking. And my conversation with him went like this: I don't drink. He said, "No, Bruce, you got to quit drinking." I said, "I don't drink. I'm sorry." He said, "No, I really want you to take this to heart. You've got to quit drinking." He said, "You get this either by drinking alcohol or having cancer." Well, I had my ex-wife come to the clinic with me one day, and she told him herself. She said, "He doesn't drink." And that doctor turned white. He says, "I want you to really think about what I'm telling you, Bruce. I want you to really think about what I just said." I said, "Okay, so what do I do for this?" He said, "Nothing." The other doctor said she couldn't do anything either. She said, "No, we can only monitor you." Okay. What can I say? I wasn't fearful. I wasn't concerned. I just thought, this is okay. This is what I got to deal with. Well, my wife left. She was gone, and I was alone. And I couldn't cook, so I just boiled water and I put rice. And I got the thought to cook brown rice. So I started cooking brown rice every day. I started boiling vegetables and frozen fish. That's all I ate. And I did that for about a year straight. One day I'm in my doctor's office waiting for the doctor. A male nurse comes in. He's quite athletic. He takes all my vitals. He reads my chart, leaves the room, comes back, reads some more, leaves the room, comes back about an hour later. He says, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm waiting for the doctor. She's late." "I don't know. I'm just waiting." He says, "No, tell me, what are you doing in life?" He didn't think I was the guy in the paper. I was totally different according to my vitals and my charts. I said, "Well, what do you mean?" He said, "What are you doing in your life that is such a dramatic change from where you were?" I said, "Well," I told him my diet change. I told him, and he said, "Do you work out?" I said, "Yeah, I do push-ups, I do knee bends, I swim." I said, "I just do simple things." He said, "Oh my God, you have totally changed." And the doctor came in and he went over everything with her, and she kept asking me, she said, "What are you doing? And what, really, tell us, what have you done?" I said, "I changed my diet." And she says, "Your diet? That's it?" I said, "Well, you told me there's nothing we can do. It's pancreatic. There is no cure. There is no medicine. There's nothing they can do for it." She said, "Yes, it's, you have remarkable results. Keep doing it." I have another friend in California, a believer, Terry Johnson. Terry calls me up. He said, "Bruce, I've been taking nutrition classes." He said, "They just discovered there's a component in brown rice that helps heal the pancreas." Hallelujah, Father had me eating brown rice. That I ate oatmeal for decades. That was breakfast from the time I was a kid. But the thought was, don't eat, oatmeal anymore. And what can I eat? Brown rice. First the thought, eat rice, and then I got the thought, eat brown rice. So that's what I did. So brown rice has been a staple of my diet. It totally got rid of all the symptoms of pancreatic issues, and I gained my strength back. I can work 8 hours a day. I can stand on my feet 8 hours a day and work. I still get tired. I'm not a young man, but my strength and my vigor return. But Father had to remove the cooking from my wife because she was Malaysian and she cooked with all kinds of meats and spices and sausages, and I mean, the stuff that we ate was just unbelievable. So it was that was causing all of this, and that's why the cancers were coming in, because it was diet. And when I changed my diet, Father was showing me you had to do that. But he brought that woman into my life and he helped take her away. So that taught me some great lessons. But at the same time, that wife came to me and she said, "I want to find you a woman." And I said, "Okay." She says, "I want to put you on a dating site." So she put me on this thing called Asian dating. Yeah, Asian dating. And I started, meeting people from all over the planet. And the Philippines became a great focus because the girls could speak English. And it was a good distraction for me, especially with everything else I was going on. So as time went on, I met different people. I met this one beautiful girl, and she called me one day, and boy, I was pretty happy. She called me on video, and we chatted a bit. She would tell me a bit about her life, but I'd look at her Facebook and saw this beautiful little girl. I just saw so much in her, little expressions and how she looked, and I just liked her, and I loved looking at her pictures and would always look to see if there was a new picture of her periodically. And her mom and I were friends, and I became friends with some of her friends. But one day, Raquel, contacts me and said, I have a question to ask you. She said, my little girl, Kylene, has a question. She asked me to ask you if you would be her daddy. And it took me aback for a second, only a second. And I got the immediate thought, yes. And that began a process of healing for me. That began a process of giving me hope. That gave me the process of wanting to live. I had the hope of the return of the Messiah in me. I could speak in tongues. I could manifest Holy Spirit power. I had done everything. I had 4 beautiful children. I had sons that were, great athletes. I was, just happy to be alive, but I really didn't think I was going to go on very much, and I didn't really have a reason to want to go on. My children were separated from me. I was living totally alone. I was working through some serious health issues. But upon that beautiful girl's request, it gave me a desire, hope, and need to live. And I wanted to be a much better man than what I was. I really wanted to be the best man I could be. I was very in tune to earning eternal rewards. Anything I had tried to accomplish, I failed at. All the things I wanted to do, I failed at. I wasn't successful in marriage. I wasn't successful in businesses. I wasn't even successful in holding down a job. I had been laid off 13 times in the course of a decade. You don't know how demoralizing that is. If you're a man and you're trying to earn money just to pay simple bills. I had no car payment. I couldn't afford a new car if I ever wanted one. I had a very simple apartment. We had the cheapest, least expensive furniture you could own. I was struggling to pay child support. Life was tough, and I constantly got laid off. We were going through a very bad period in the United States. People don't have a clue at how much things changed. Having a little girl ask you to be her daddy is something you have to live to understand its impact. Kylene is absolutely beautiful to me. She has those beautiful chinky eyes, I call them. Like gorgeous hair of her mom's face shape. Wonderful little beauty. I love you so much, Kylene, because obviously you are the one that Father used to reach into my life from halfway around the world. I wanted to remain faithful to your needs in life, and that's what I did. I became very faithful to Kylene. Whatever her need was, wherever she ended up going, I always endeavored to do the best for her and by her. Well, the only thing I was a little bit not so happy with myself about was it took me many years to go there. I was not able to go and meet her father to daughter until this year in February. And I also met Raquel. Well, you can imagine a man halfway around the world communicating with a beautiful young woman and being in love with her daughter, her little daughter, who I could never get enough news about. I could never talk enough about, but her mom was good. Her mom really, we stayed in great contact. Her mom did good. And I never indicated to the mom I had any thought or feeling for her because I never wanted to jeopardize the relationship I had with Kylene if something would have occurred between Raquel and myself. Integrity again. It was back to integrity. I had to be full of integrity. I wanted that to be the greatest thing I could exhibit. Well, there's something else about the Philippines I discovered through the course of these actions. I had a great uncle named Henry Racine. What most people don't know is when Pearl Harbor was attacked by the Japanese, 10 hours later, the Japanese also attacked the Philippines. My great uncle went ahead and joined the military. When all this happened, he ended up being shipped to the Philippines. And him, along with 19,000 other U.S. soldiers, were captured by the Japanese because they ran out of ammunition. And the War Department, if you will, made a decision to fight the battle in Europe as opposed to the battle out in the Pacific at that time. Well, my great uncle was captured. He was marched in something called the Bataan Death March. Well, when I went to the Philippines in February, I was able to see the giant cross that's used as the monument for where they were. That's a monument to the Bataan Death March men who both died and survived. It wasn't just Americans, it was also Filipinos. But the city that they marched them through is where Kylene and Raquel live. Father has a plan. He's got reasons. He's got something that he honored. I can't tell you what the life of my great uncle Henry was. I know he was a prisoner of war for years, and that when he was discharged and came home, he weighed about 95 pounds, and he was as tall as I am. And my father did meet him. I believe one time we went to visit them, and I remember it very vividly, every aspect of that visit, even though I was a small child. But my father told me, he said he was the most humble man he ever encountered in his life. Well, the Philippines seemed to be attached to me, and Father put my focus on the Philippines. And I found 2 orphanages there that I want to assist them with. I want to go there and do things for them. Kylene and her little brother Sean will be my children. I'm looking forward to marrying Raquel. To me, she's a girl gave me the greatest gift in her life, the greatest thing she had, which was her daughter to raise. She told me even if Kylene wanted to live with me as father and daughter, she would let that happen because she felt I could give her a better life. Well, I knew that wouldn't be Father's plan. Father's always about the best. We can get good, better, and the best, and Father's always about the best. So I thought, what's the best in a situation like that? And Father said, well, of course, you have to marry Raquel and adopt Kylene and Sean. And I thought, that's the plan. And I was happy with that. I love Sean. He's a handsome boy. He's half Australian. He looks very similar to me, obviously, and he loves his mother. His mother loves him. I love how they all are. Kylene, I can just sit and look at her all day, and I look forward to my future, raising her and showing in the accuracy of the word with the love of God, the love of the Father, with the love of Jehovah and everything. So anyway, I wanted to put that together before we continue on with the accuracy of the word, if you will.